VA loan inspection requirements. What are they? The answer might just surprise you. Up next. Welcome back to Colorado Springs RER, where we teach you how to make smart real estate choices. I'm Cregg Terasa, a realtor here in wonderful Colorado Springs, Colorado. Let's get into this. Today we're going to be discussing VA loan inspection requirements. What are they, and what are some common things that we see? Now, the first thing I'm going to tell you is something that might surprise you, and that is that there is no VA loan inspection requirement. So let me show you right here. I'm going to go to the VA website. I'll put it up on the screen, and let me show you right now. So, as you can see, if you look up top here, I'm on the va.gov site, benefits site, and specifically for home loans. So if we scroll down here, there's some helpful stuff across the left side here. But we're going to look at this VA home loan buyer guide. So we'll click on that. I'll also leave a link in the description below directly to this downloadable document or to this site so you can go get it on your own. But if we go to the table of contents, and I've already looked it up so I know it's right here on section 25, home loans, or page 25 rather. Scroll on down to page 25, home inspections right here. Home inspections are not required by VA. However, they do highly recommend, as do I, that every borrower does get an inspection. Just because you don't have to get an inspection technically doesn't mean there aren't some more hoops to jump through. We still have an appraisal to go through, and there's things like major systems that need to be up and running. VA, when you're qualifying for a VA loan, they don't want, a rundown fixer-upper. That's not the proper loan type for that. What you're going to want to have is you're going to want to have, your electrical's up and running, your plumbing's good, you have water to the property, your heating and cooling is up, if you have cooling. You're going to want to make sure. Now, another major one is structural. Make sure your foundation's good. Now, my recommendation, if your foundation has issues, I would just run the other way. Or more specifically, I would probably terminate the contract because there's so many things that are wrong with it. Typically, the seller doesn't have the money. I mean, I've seen anywhere from, on the low end, $20,000 up to over $100,000 to fix an issue with the foundation. So I would recommend probably terminating for the average buyer. It's just not a good fit. But let's talk about some more common, that's an extreme case, but let's talk about a little bit more common stuff. So chipping paint, that's probably the number one thing that I see that an appraiser is going to ding is there's chipping paint. Matter of fact, when I bought my house, it had a deck on the back. It was in okay shape, but the paint or the stain that was on there was completely, it was just flaking off where it was almost non-existent. If it would have been bare wood, it would have been okay. But the fact that it's chipping, they ding that. So we had to get the deck resurfaced before we could close. So that was a good thing for me. Now, another one I see, probably the second most common thing, is trip hazards. Like, you come up to a walkway or steps where the step has dropped, or the concrete is really, it's got like a 2 or 3 inch step now that wasn't there before. That's where, it's considered a trip hazard. I've even seen it inside when they had one where it was a, seller didn't want to do anything to the house. They had dogs, they locked in a room, and the dog had just torn up the carpet right at the doorway. And because the carpet was torn up, that was also considered a trip hazard. And so that had to be remedied before we were able to get the loan and get closed on the house. Now, this all kind of leads up to the appraiser. We love our appraisers, of course, right? We need them to say, hey, is the house worth it? But it really depends on the appraiser. Just because there's chipping paint or just because there's a tear in the floor or uneven concrete, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to ding you for that. So it's really depending on what appraiser you get and what they ding you on. So now you know what VA loan inspection requirements are. I would just like to take a second and thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment below, and we always love to respond to all comments. Hey you, yeah, the one that just finished this video, why don't you stick around and watch a couple more? And if you like what you see, you go ahead and subscribe, and you can see us again next week. I don't know what I'm going to say. That way you can leave a comment below. Leave a comment below.